Hey guys, and welcome to my Deck Tech with Pod. Now, if you haven't played a lot of Modern since its inception a few years ago, Pod is one of the more popular decks in the format simply because it plays one very specific, very powerful card.
Ban it!
That you could potentially ban, but I don't know if that's a great idea. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the deck and I'll explain exactly why it's so good. Now, the card that I'm talking about and the card that's the centerpiece of the deck is Birthing Pod. Birthing Pod is kind of like this split card that says cast Dark Ritual and Diabolic Tutor every single turn so long as every card and every creature you're playing is a creature.
Don't you mean demonic?
Demonic, what'd I say?
Diabolic?
Oh yeah, same thing, whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
Basically it's just Tutor and Dark Ritual every turn, letting you play bigger and bigger creatures searching through your deck. Now, there are, stumbling points in your deck if you, don't build your deck correctly. For example, when you're chaining with Birthing Pod, if you've already gotten all the 4-drops out of your deck, you can no longer get a 5-drop, or if your opponent's killed all of them. So it's not like it does exactly what you want every turn, but it kind of does. It's just a very powerful engine that a lot of decks have trouble disrupting, even though they can kill it, they can Pithy Needle, they can do a lot of stuff to it to shut it down. It doesn't always work though, simply because you can play it and activate it in the same turn. Still getting one use out of it, even if they kill it, is usually good enough to gain a significant advantage. Now, the rest of the deck just looks like a very fair mid-rangey junk deck. We have Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, and Wall of Roots as mana acceleration. We have Voice of Resurgence, Kitchen Finks as both value creatures that you can block with, gain life with, or just sacrifice to Birthing Pod to start chaining up to the bigger guys. 3 Chord of Calling are kind of like your slightly worse Birthing Pods, but at times this card is just unbeatable. There are a lot of matchups, a lot of combo-based matchups, specifically where you have one tutor target that you get to put directly into play for very little mana that shuts your opponent down completely, and that's one of the things that makes Chord of Calling so good in the deck. Since you do need creatures in play for it to be good, we only play 3, that way we don't get blown out by things like Electrolyze or Anger of the Gods and just get stuck with a bunch of these in hand, because Chord of Calling for 1 is not usually very good unless you already have the other 2 combo pieces in play, which I will explain here in just a minute. So we have a couple of different combos in the deck, but the main one is Viscerous Seer and Malira Sylvok Outcast paired with either Kitchen Finks or Murderous Redcap. Murderous Redcap kills them on the spot, but Kitchen Finks is just a better creature in general, so you play 4 of this and only 1 Murderous Redcap.
Keeps you alive.
Yeah, but it gains you infinite life and lets you basically put any card in your deck on top of your deck to draw next turn. Usually it's the Murderous Redcap to actually kill them. Most decks in the format can't beat infinite life anyway, so you're going to win that way most of the time anyway.
How many mountains are in my deck again?
Not enough to do
Not infinite?
not infinity mountains. That is correct. So yeah, if I'm ever able to get infinite life against Brad in this matchup, then he's not going to be able to survive. So the rest of the deck, we just have value creatures with Orzhov Pontiff is really great against token-based strategies, but there are some times where just like using it in response to a Splinter Twin on a Pestermite with Chord of Calling to go get it.
Or a Deceiver.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't beat Deceiver.
you can wait till their attack step,
once
and
they
then
attack,
you can Chord of Calling for Orzhov Pontiff, and it shuts down all parts of their Splinter Twin combo. Spellskite, similar, shuts down Splinter Twin combo, but is also great at protecting your other more important creatures from removal spells. Phyrexian Metamorph is a great value card. A cheap clone effect is really great when almost all of your creatures have come into play effects. It's really great with Kitchen Finks because you can copy Kitchen Finks, sacrifice the Phyrexian Metamorph, get a 4-drop, and then copy some other creature with the Metamorph when it comes back into play. Shriek Maw is a great tutor target for killing any annoying creature that they may have. Well, especially if your opponent has Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze is actually really good at disrupting this deck because it can hit the Persist creature in response to the Persist trigger while it's still in the graveyard. So having a removal spell to tutor for is good for that. Eternal Witness to rebuy a combo piece if your opponent knocks it out of your hand.
Yeah, just a bunch of cards.
Just a bunch of 1-ups. I just want to explain why they're in the deck, though. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Ranger of Eos, I think, is an important one. It's a 4-drop card that you can go get after sacking Kitchen Finks to Birthing Pod, which helps you go get your 1-drop in Viscerous Seer. But if the game is going pretty long and your Viscerous Seer is already dead, you can just Ranger of Eos for 2 copies of Noble Hierarch and then just have a 5/4 attacking every turn, which is pretty good against the control decks. Kusali Pride Mage to kill artifacts and enchantments. A Revelark to help rebuy stuff. Linvala just shuts down all opposing creature-based combos, all creature-based abilities, and then a Scavenging Ooze of your own when the game is going super long and you have a ton of creatures in the graveyard. Yeah. The last spell in the deck is Abrupt Decay, which helps you.
No, that is not the last spell.
What did I miss?
There's a land so good that it's a spell.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so the other centerpiece of the deck outside of Birthing Pod is Township, and now a lot of people are going to bring in a ton of disruption and try to beat Birthing Pod, Ancient Grudges, things like that. And so the secondary plan in this deck is to just make big dudes.
Yep.
And I mean it. I've played this card so many times. You flood out on Noble Hierarchs and Birds of Paradise, it sucks until you have a Township and you're activating this on turn 3.
Yeah, I would say that I've lost more games against Malirapod to Gavany Township than I actually have to the Malira and Viscera Seer combo. Gavany Township gets out of hand real quick.
A 2/6 Spellskite is a big deal.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway, guys, well, that is the main deck, aside from the lands, which are just a smattering of dual lands and fetch
we'll
lands.
Talk about more one-ofs right now.
Yeah, let's go to the board and we'll talk about so many more one-ofs. So as Brad already mentioned, the sideboard does have a lot of one-of creatures in it, but it also has Thoughtseize in the form of disruption against all the combo decks. This card comes in a variety of matchups. Basically, when your opponent is going to be bringing in removal to disrupt your combo, that's going to be less of your win condition, and then like Birthing Mod is going to become more of a value engine, and so you're not going to be able to win the games very quickly. Thoughtseize is a great spell to have in your deck when the games are going to go long, and you're going to want to disrupt your opponent just as much as they're disrupting you.
Yeah, especially since when Pod's not going to be the main game changer in post-sideboard games, a lot of your one-ofs aren't needed. All your mana guys, they lose a little bit of importance.
A lot of your removal becomes worse against like various combo decks, agree.
So you do want to slow down, and Thoughtseize is a great card that helps a deck slow down.
Yeah, Sin Collector is another card to bring in alongside the Thoughtseizes to help out in similar situations. Being able to tutor for him and disrupt your opponent, either taking their Sphinx Revelation, their removal spell is just so good.
See, I think that's so great. It's like you have this voice that is going to potentially allow you to get the Birthing Pod into play, or it gives you an extra token. But if the Birthing Pod resolves and you don't get the Evan Irwin token, then all of a sudden that turns into Sin Collector, take a card. Then that next turn turns into Exhumer XR, take a card. And then that turns into Revelark the next turn. And now if that ever dies, you get 2 more cards.
Yeah, it's a really great chain of Sin Collector into Entomber Exarch. I should have staggered them like this. Yeah. But the other best 4-drop against control, because most of them don't play Wrath of God or even Supreme Verdict, most of them just play Anger of the Gods. Threaten the Last Troll is a gigantic beating that most decks just can't deal with. I know I've been playing a lot of him in Rug Twin as my top-end finisher after board when most of my combo pieces come out, and he's just as good in this deck, and this is single-handedly the card that beat me in the last time I played Modern in the IQ here at Star City Games a few months ago. But
okay, because I thought you were talking about that GP where you lost to the same Robots guy twice.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
that was embarrassing. That was awkward. But yeah, against Affinity, we actually have a few weapons in Kataki and Harmonic Sliver. Against them, we can also bring in Dismember, and alongside the value type gain life creatures, Orzhov Pontiff. We have a lot of cards that are very good against them, but these are the main hosers, and you can even metamorph the Harmonic Sliver, and then you get to kill 2 things, because you get the trigger from the original Harmonic Sliver and the new Harmonic Sliver with the metamorph.
Is that how slivers work?
Yeah, that's how slivers work, Brad. They all get the ability. The end. 2 Scavenging Oozes to come alongside the one that's in the main deck for any sort of graveyard-based combo deck, or just any sort of Jund-based deck, or anything that's trying to kill all of your creatures. It's just a good standalone threat. Eidolon of Rhetoric. I don't know why this is in the deck over Aethersworn Canonist, honestly. I guess it's easier to chain into this, maybe?
That's the argument, but I don't actually agree, because you're probably going to have a mana guy, and you're not always going to have a voice. So I actually don't know why that. Maybe, it's because it lives through Bolt.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, all of the Storm decks play Lightning Bolt, so that makes a lot of sense. So Eidolon of Rhetoric, I guess, is the upgrade to Aethersworn
Can't double
Canonist.
bolt them.
Yeah, can't double. Wow, that's real good. Yeah, so this is actually, I guess, this is a pretty good upgrade to Aethersworn Canonist and the Storm matchups. Being able to keep them from only, or make them only play 1 spell a turn, as opposed to the 12 they need to Grape Shot you to death or whatever is pretty sweet. And then, like I said already, 3 Dismembers come in against the other creature-based decks.
Or Twin.
Or Twin or whatever. So just a very cheap removal spell that's very good.
It's a removal spell at instant speed that can kill Deceiver Exarch or a Spellskite or anything that Splinter Twin's going to
Yeah,
have.
and the fact that it can cost 1, 2, or 3 mana based on how much mana you have left open is pretty important too. And a lot of the matchups where you only want to spend 1 mana while doing other things, the 4 life is not going to matter too much.
No.
I've seen versions play Slaughter Pacts. I'm not sure which one I like more. I do like the surprise factor of Slaughter Pact against the Twin decks. It's really, really hard for them to play around that, and it's very good there. But yeah, anyway, guys, that is Melira Pod. I know it's really complicated and there's a lot of moving pieces, but that just means it's going to be that much harder for me to play it perfectly, and I'm probably going to make a lot of mistakes.
I'm going to ramp and kill him.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, just scroll right down and watch the fight.
All right, see you guys then.